Well, we will transition to getting started to the reason why we are here this week, which is to hear from Tyler Suter from Redfeather Outdoors about what is going on at the new building. Tyler and his family moved here in 2020. His wife, Sara Fetyko, owns the Earth Elements Acupuncture, and he worked at Piragis repairing and managing the fleet of rental canoes, and then transitioned over to Redfeather and is opening the Ely flagship store. So I'm very excited. I've been watching the construction of that building happen, and I know we're all excited to not only hear about what's going on there, but also be able to walk in and see what's going on. So I'm going to hand it over to Tyler.
Hi, how are you? All right. Well, my name's Tyler Suter, like she said. I'm going to be the store manager at Redfeather Outdoors here in Ely. I appreciate you having me, Jess, and I'm excited to tell you all about the new store as well as the brand. So with that, let's see here. Work this handy dandy thing. Redfeather manufactures snowshoes, lightweight composite canoes, and an assortment of other outdoors gear suited to northern Minnesota's conditions. We know that people have endless opportunities to buy outdoors gear, including some great options here in Ely. What we hope to bring to town is some great products manufactured in the United States that are catered to people who like to explore this area. Most people probably know us for our snowshoes. I've even had a few people come and ask me in town if we will carry parts for their old Redfeather snowshoes. Yes, we will. Some of you know that we make composite canoes as well. But we are a company that is looking to expand our product line to suit the needs of the people who live in and visit Ely to explore the surrounding wilderness. We think that having a store here will really allow us to identify new products we can make and serve the community. So we're really excited about that. We want to be on the leading edge of innovation and quality in the outdoors industry by perfecting our current offerings as well as identifying new products to manufacture in our U.S. factories. I'll go a little bit more into depth on this when I talk about the canoe construction end of things, but we employ the latest innovations being used in the industry. We are not satisfied to simply compete in the marketplace. We want to help push the industry forward through quality and innovation. Redfeather is a company full of people who are passionate about the outdoors. From paddling a canoe to hunting and fishing, we use the gear we manufacture, and it instructs our process. Last week, I was texting with my boss, Andrew, about some work things, and he had to reply and say, hey, I might be a little delayed on my responses. I'm out in the woods hunting turkeys. Scott, our president and CEO, he and Andrew came up here not long ago to paddle into Quetico, paddle up the falls chain into Knippy, beautiful Knippy, and they caught, about 1.5 million fish. So, and speaking for myself, I'm a paddle and ski obsessed resident of Ely. I've lived here for 6 years now. The wilderness was a major factor in my wife and I deciding to raise a family here, to move up here. We think raising children at the edge of the wilderness and in the woods is such a huge benefit. So this is all just to say that Redfeather's full of people who are passionate about the outdoors, and that's what drives our passion to be involved in this industry in the first place. So we take pride in outfitting our U.S. military with the gear we manufacture, and believe our customers will take pride in knowing we provide gear that is up to military standards. Andrew is here today too. He can talk a little bit more about this during the Q&A portion, but I think it's fair to say that our gear has earned a certain level of merit as a result of its use by the military. We manufacture quality gear for highly competitive contracts that demand excellence, and I think the customer will benefit from that. We have manufacturing driven by a mission that serves more than just profits, which leads me to my next slide. Let's see. ORC Industries is based in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is the parent company of Redfeathers Outdoors. ORC's mission is to advance the independence, productivity, and self-sufficiency of people with disabilities through employment opportunities. It has been proven time and again that an independent, productive, and self-sufficient person is a person who has a healthy sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Those factors and other benefits of being a productive employee enable a person to contribute to and gain from the community. That community is ORC Industry and the larger community we are all a part of. This is kind of where our customers come in. We want to sell products and expand our product portfolio to be able to provide more opportunities for our community, both at ORC Industries and in the community here in Ely. The better we do, the more people we can employ, and the healthier the community can be. Okay. So a little bit of history on ORC Industries. It was founded in 1966, established by James Holton in La Crosse, Wisconsin, with just 15 employees and a pioneering mission to provide meaningful employment for individuals with disabilities. We also have military heritage, which I mentioned before. Since 1976, ORC has been a trusted military contractor, notably serving as the exclusive manufacturer of the official U.S. Navy Dixie Cup hat. I actually was able to see the Dixie Cup hats being manufactured during my visit in January, and I got to say it was kind of a surreal experience watching something so iconic being handcrafted in front of you. So I thought that was pretty neat. Okay, critical defense gear. The company became a leading military contractor, developing specialized items like the improved rain suit and becoming the sole source for high-performance sealants for military ponchos in 1983. And then in 2006, we had an outdoor evolution. The company expanded its mission into the outdoor industry by acquiring Redfeather snowshoes and Bell Canoe, moving production of these high-quality brands to its home base in La Crosse, Wisconsin. ORC has not manufactured Bell Canoes since 2011, but at Redfeather, we've adapted the original molds, many of which were designed by legendary canoe builder David Yost, who I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. And we did so to accommodate vacuum bagging and gel infusion. And maybe, just maybe, you may see some Bell canoes manufactured in the original process come to our store in Ely at some point. Maybe. Fingers crossed. All right. That leads us to today, expanding to Ely. As ORC celebrates nearly 60 years of operation, the opening of Redfeather Outdoors store in Ely, Minnesota marks a new chapter in bringing mission-backed, made-in-the-USA gear directly to outdoor enthusiasts. We faced a lot of resistance trying to find places to sell our canoes originally. A lot of the canoe retailers are loyal to their current brands, which makes a whole lot of sense. We understand that. So as Andrew told me when he first spoke to me about this opportunity, what better way to get people out in those boats trying them, to get people seeing those boats on the water, than opening a store in a town where there's a canoe on top of every car. We believe that Ely is not only the gateway to the Boundary Waters, but it's the gateway to paddling. During my time selling canoes, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who said, my dad used to take me out here. He no longer is able to paddle, but now I'm taking my son, or I'm taking my grandchildren or my daughter up here to paddle canoes. And that's such a neat thing. So many people come up here and paddle a canoe for the first time, myself included. I came up here on a church trip way, way back when. And they end up leaving with a lifetime love for paddling a canoe. So we're really excited we're honored to start being a part of that process. Okay. I got to do both of these. All right. Canoe Shop Reborn. Give me a second. All right, we hand build every canoe in La Crosse, Wisconsin by our master craftsmen who take pride in every detail. Using cutting-edge I2 vacuum infusion technology, we create lightweight, super durable canoes made to last. Inspired by the driftless region and the Mississippi River, our canoes aren't just boats. They're built to help you truly connect with the water and the wild around you. When Andrew and his team began building began working to restart Bell Canoes in 2021, they vowed to do things differently. They weren't going to simply start the same shop as it had existed in the past. They wanted to build something that would allow them to lead the composite canoes forward into the future. So we brought in custom cutting-edge fabrics and switched to the wet bagging process. We switched to infusion. Vacuum infusion hulls are superior in multiple ways. Most of all, they make it a lot better for the people building the canoes. The vacuum does all the resin work, and the VOCs are contained inside the vacuum bag, so there's nothing gassing off in a builder's face, which I can tell you as somebody who has worked on a lot of composite canoes and resins in open air, it is a nasty process. And when they are contained inside the bag, it is just way better. And we think that's a huge advantage to be able to provide to our employees. Beyond that, it leads to a superior product. Vacuum bagging is a more consistent process that leads to better cosmetics and quality with less wasted resin, all thanks to infusion. I was lucky enough to be able to visit the canoe factory in January. And visiting that canoe shop was a total treat for me. During the 6 years I've sold canoes, I'd always wanted to visit a canoe factory where they built the boats, but I never had an opportunity to do so until this year. Andrew thought it was critical for me to see the process. I even was able to get my hands dirty myself and build a canoe, which was, it was such a treat. It was amazing. So I can tell you from that process that these guys are meticulous. They're obsessed with every detail, and it is reflected in how beautiful the canoes are. I will also say I think that Andrew's insistence on me building a canoe for myself is emblematic of the company's culture. ORC and Redfeather they value well-informed employees throughout the company. People at Redfeather and ORC care about what they are doing, and it shows in the final product. All right, a flagship store. Nestled in the heart of the Boundary Waters, our Ely store celebrates the spirit of the Northwoods. While we carry a premium selection of snowshoes, pulk sleds, and essential outdoor gear, our true heartbeat is found on the water. Experience our canoe collection designed for everything from serene morning paddles to rugged backcountry expeditions. And you can come experience the canoe collection at our store, which will be opening this Saturday. That is a for sure date. I know you guys have heard a lot of dates thrown around maybe, but this Saturday it's opening. And you can come see us at 125 Central Avenue, right next to the Ely Surplus store. Okay. All right. Here's a few of our products here that you can see, a small selection. That picture of the pulk sled is from my trip in April to the Numbered Lakes. I think it's a pretty cool photo, but what's even cooler, that pulk sled. I'm absolutely in love with it. Okay. Let's see. So I'm excited to start in on this new venture. Give me 1 second. My nerves are drying my mouth out. Okay. I'm excited to be a part of this new venture. I came to Redfeather from a job that I loved. When I first met with Andrew about this opportunity, I told him, you know, I'm doing my due diligence taking this meeting, but it's highly unlikely that I'm going to leave my current position. But after discussing his plans, Andrew made it clear that they are striving to build canoes that are as close to perfect as humanly possible. As I mentioned when I was talking about visiting the shop, they are obsessed. He expressed to me the desire for Redfeather to be an innovator and leader in the industry, and I must say that was extremely refreshing and also very attractive. Then I saw the canoes. Backing up just a little bit, Andrew will recall when he first came to town to sell Redfeather canoes, which is now years ago. It was not to open a new store. It was to try selling canoes to outfitters and find a dealer to sell the canoes in a retail setting. While those canoes were beautiful and showed signs of promise, there was still work to be done to perfect the layups. However, what I saw from Andrew when he came to talk to me this time blew me away. They were gorgeous boats built out of unique composite materials, but most importantly, they were hulls that maximized form and function. It was clear to me by pushing in the hulls in those strategic points, many of us are probably familiar with, that these boats were tough and efficient, with beefy ribs and reinforcement in areas that need rigidity to maximize performance on the water. To be perfectly honest, what I saw is the future of composite canoes, in my opinion, or my estimation. And everything I've learned since then has reinforced my belief in Redfeather canoes. When I thought back to the first time I'd seen a Redfeather canoe and how far Andrew and his team had come since then, it was abundantly clear to me how capable they were of delivering a high performance and high quality product. It couldn't be denied. So in addition to canoes, Redfeather also manufactures snowshoes, polk sleds, and an assortment of outdoors gear and apparel. We are super excited to bring all these products to Ely, while also exploring other ideas for what we can manufacture. We know that the best ideas are going to come from people who are out in the woods all of the time. And we know Ely is full of people who are out in the woods all of the time. That's just to say, I think this is such a wonderful place to have a store where you're trying to find other ideas on what to manufacture. I think it couldn't be a better place, quite honestly. So, with all that said, thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for having me, Jess, and also thank you for listening to me blather on a bit there. I hope it didn't get too dense for you. And before I open it up to questions, I want to introduce my boss, Andrew Vitone. He is the Director of Sales and Marketing at ORC Industries, and we'll open it up to questions too. So, yeah, we're ready for questions.
Okay. I have the microphone. I'll bring it around. Does anybody have any questions?
He's coming up.
Oh, here, we'll pause for a second.
Outside in the back.
We're glad you can make it. Do you want to say anything before we open to questions?
Yeah, I'll start by just saying thanks for having us. I'm excited to be here. Tyler did a pretty good job of kind of summarizing what we've been up to. I know there's been a lot of questions. It's been a long time. We've been doing a lot of work in that building. It was in need of some love, and yeah, we're just excited to be here and sell some great products. And you know, like Tyler said, it's one of the only places in the world that every car has a canoe on it. So yeah, we'll be happy to answer any questions about Redfeather. I can speak a little better to ORC and what we do there.
I have a question about your canoes. So you bought the Bell canoe brand and everything. Is your canoe, did you do an expansion of that canoe, or did you choose to start all over? What I'm curious about is the evolution of Bell to Redfeather.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. I got the opportunity in 2021. In 2011, ORC turned the lights off at Bell Canoe. So they bought it from Ted Bell in 2007. And Ted had a 5-year non-compete, and then started North Star Canoes after his non-compete was up. So the mold and Bell Canoe as it existed sat for 10 years with the lights off until I walked in and started dusting stuff off. Found 2 handwritten pages of instructions on how to build them and took it from there. I built a few, the wet bag method that Winona and North Star use. it's a pretty awful process for the people, and I switched to switch to the infusion method. When I was just digging in, I spent months just researching the market on who's building what they're building them out of, how much they're charging. And I kind of came to the conclusion that it didn't make sense to bring it back as Bell Canoe. We have this great Redfeather snowshoe brand that's been around for a long time. We've made them in lacrosse for 20 years, but it started back in 1988, and got the idea to kind of bring it back as Redfeather. And it's been very well received. People love the feather on the bow, and I vowed to never build a yellow boat. There's a lot of yellow boats in the world, so we brought in some beautiful red fabrics, and we're using carbon fiber like others. But that's kind of how the switch from Bell to Redfeather happened. So, yeah.
Kayaks, or you'll make kayaks in the future?
Kayaks is a whole different ball game. We do have one of the molds that came with the purchase of Bell, the Rob Roy, which is a decked canoe, but it looks like a kayak. Kayaks, most of them are thermoformed today. We don't have that technology. We do have all of the old Royal X molds and the oven to make Royal X boats. I've talked to a ski about getting T-Formax and introducing those, and they don't really want to part with their T-Formax sheets, so that's not an option. We do have that Rob Roy mold, though, to answer your question. That's a 12 and a 15 foot. The reason I haven't built it's a little daunting. You have to make the bottom and the top and seam them together. And so they put a paintbrush on a 2-foot stick, and you stick your head inside and have to seam it together. But if you want one, I'll build it for you.
Talk a little bit about the specifications of your canoes, the height, weight, length, width, distance from gunnel to gunnel, and view.
We have a variety of molds from 12 to 20 feet for all different purposes. The closest to 19 would probably be our 18'6". Very, very capable, holding a lot of gear. What are you hauling? Don't need any. Yep. Cart. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to go out there for weeks, that boat's capable of holding all your stuff.
Weight.
Yeah, so weight. So how these differ with the infusion process, we use a clear gel coat. That's our first layer. And all that cloth goes in the mold dry. So when you compare our weights to North Star and Winona, it's kind of apples to oranges. The competitors advertise the bare bones weight with no options. For an example, North Star doesn't include internal skid plates in their boat. That's a $100 upcharge. I made the decision to include them in every boat. So I believe in the stiffness and that extra. That's a Kevlar felt, and we put it inside that first layer so you don't see it. But it soaks up resin, turns rock hard, and gives you a lot of abrasion resistance. So right off the bat, there's things that make us a little bit heavier, but we are very comparable. For example, the most popular boat, the Northwind, it's a 17.6 boat, and they're coming in 44 pounds, 45 pounds. So.
Well, thanks for coming here today. Excuse me. Well, 50 years ago, my wife and I traveled through Spooner, Wisconsin,
And the highway sign caught our eye. The highway sign was to come to this National Canoe Museum. So we went to see it. It was beautiful. They did a beautiful job. But don't you think we should be the canoe capital?
I think it's 100%. I mean, that's one of the reasons when we talked about doing a store, it's like, well, there's no other place that makes sense. Like, that's the first place that comes to mind. I would say it's definitely the unofficial capital. I can start looking into how we make it official, because I would like to do that.
Yeah, I got a question. You're from La Crosse, so I assume you're familiar with the Flambeau River and the rapids, 1, 2, 3 class. Did any red feathers bash their way through the class 3s?
I have never actually paddled the Flambeau, but I have taken one of our carbon boats down the Namakagon, if you're familiar.
Yep.
My buddies and I do an annual trip on the Namakagon. No portaging, so we go heavy. Big coolers, lots of gear, and kind of a funny story. I took my girlfriend at the time on her first trip. She came with, and I took one of our carbon boats down the Namakagon, and it was a true test of, it's going to hold up. I mean, I had a 70-quart Pelican cooler with a 30 rack in it, and we eat good, so we bring lots of meat and snacks and camping chairs, firewood, water, and I didn't tell her that it was a test because I wanted her to go on the trip. And 3 days later, when we got to the end and pulled out and got our shuttle, I was nervous myself, so I didn't even look at the bottom of the boat. We got there and made it. We unloaded it, and I was like, "Let's flip this over." That was a good test. And she's like, "What do you mean test?" The boat held up great, and it was kind of funny because the guy that picked us up, that does the shuttle for us, he's like, "You took a carbon fiber boat on the Namakagon? You crazy?" And, well, it was a good test. I learned. That was one thing. Before we really put anything out there in the world, we were building boats for a year and a half, just kind of tinkering, perfecting the process. And my boss, Scott, is like, "When are you gonna start selling these things?" And I'm like, "Dude, we gotta beat the crap out of them and make sure they're gonna hold up. I don't, that's the last thing I want to do is start putting boats out there into the world and have problems and tarnish the name before we even get going." So I've paddled the La Crosse, the Kickapoo, the Black, many of our local rivers there in La Crosse, as well as the Namakagon. I've done several trips into Quetico with them, and finally feel like they're ready for the world.
So do you feel like what your store has to offer is complementary to Piragis or in competition or a little of both?
Well, it's kind of that apples to oranges, right? I think they were selling for a short time some infused boats with the Gray Duck brand, but our boats are different. They're unique, and people, I think, gravitate to them. As far as product mix, I can tell you that Piragis does not sell Redfeather snowshoes. I know that we obviously know what they have. We're not going to try to sell the same things for the same price or undercut it by $1. We're looking for more unique things and also things that we can make ourselves. With ORC, we have a lot of technology. The primary business of ORC is cut and sew. So I've been working on products like dry bags and other things that we can make here in La Crosse, and kind of have a unique offering.
Yeah, and I'll say, we think that there's opportunity to have a store, multiple stores here that serve different niches. Piragis is an absolute great store here. We don't think Piragis is going anywhere. We just think that we can also offer some other needs that maybe Piragis isn't filling. So I don't think it has to be an either or, but.
I just want to know what happened to the girlfriend.
Not listening, right? She's still around. Actually, this summer will be her fourth trip now. Since she would no longer go on a carbon boat, so I'm actually we have an old Royal X hull that was in the shop that I trimmed out and we've been taking. I do have a ring in the state, so she'll be a fiance soon. I can say that because she's not listening.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the program for employing people with disabilities. Like how that works. Is that something that would also potentially be coming to this location? How does that work within the company?
Yeah, so Tyler kind of highlighted ORC's founding. We're celebrating 60 years this summer. It was actually founded by a La Crosse County social worker who was tired of not being able to find work for these people that he was working with. So he started up ORC. They've done a variety of products through the years. They had an oak and iron business where they were doing a lot of woodworking and making cutting boards and bagel slicers and stuff. And what really built the company was these military contracts. And so those contracts that we get come through a program called the Ability One program. It is half of 1% of the DoD budget is set aside contracts for organizations like ourselves. And we go through some pretty rigorous audits to maintain that status. And one of the things that we have to do is 75% of our direct labor hours into those contracts have to be from disabled labor. Now, disability is a very broad term, right? Hearing impairment, alcoholism, or C gives people maybe that second and third chance that other businesses don't give people. They give them the boot. We give them another chance. And so that's kind of what ORC does. The headquarters is in La Crosse there. As Tyler said, we make all the U.S. Navy sailor hats. We've done so for a very long time. And then we also manufacture tents for the Army and tarps for the Army and the Marines. We're doing a special R&D project right now on the Marine Combat Uniform. We're doing 4,000 prototypes for a field evaluation. And we are doing another prototype, a hand warmer muff, which you guys might like up here. It's pretty cold. Mm-hmm. Told Tyler this morning, like, geez, it's still winter up here. It's nice in the crop. But we're doing some hand warmers for the Army as well. So those are some of the different products that we do to support the forces.
More questions? Yeah.
Yeah, back over to the store side. Are you envisioning any rental capability out of the store?
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of great outfitters in town. We're not looking to compete with them. If you've got all the gear and you want to take a boat, we'll have daily rentals available. If you want to take a day trip, yeah, but we will definitely have, I got 10 of them on the trailer I brought up last night. I started my journey yesterday afternoon. It was a little too windy, so I stopped and then got on the road at like 8:30 last night. So I didn't get here until 1 in. But got to play the wind. They're not exactly easy to transport.
I did hear a possibility that the boats are in the parking lot.
Yeah, they are. Come see us after this presentation. We can definitely show you a whole transit. I also want to say about the rental. Definitely come see us because I want you guys to try the boat. I will do whatever I got to do to get you guys in the boat. So come see us.
Whatever the nautical equivalent approach.
Yeah. It's pretty cold. So if you don't want to stand in the parking lot, the store's warm. But we will also rent snowshoes. I don't have the bulk sled available yet. That was something that we're prototyping this winter. I had a couple up here being used. I hauled a 10-pointer out of the marsh in La Crosse with one and was doing some ice fishing down there on the river, kind of putting it through its paces before we put it out there to the world. So we will also rent that winter gear.
Without going into any trade secrets, what is the chemistry of your composite? Is it close to an epoxy or a fiberglass resin? And if so, well, besides that, is there a layer of cloth of any kind, fiberglass reinforcement?
So we're using a vinyl ester resin. It's kind of renowned. That's what everyone is using. I have played with some epoxy. Epoxy gets into a little bit more where you have to cure it, oven cure it, where vinyl ester will open air cure. So it complicates the process. Every little change changes the process. But yeah, and then to the fabrics, we aren't using any fiberglass in them. Strictly aramid, carbon fiber, Basalta Negra. And in the store, we're really gonna try and curate that customer experience. I mounted a 42-inch TV in the corner, and we're gonna have a video of how we actually construct our boats, how we construct our snowshoes, educational. We've got fabric swatches, so you can actually feel the fabric before it's impregnated with resin. So it'll be just as much of an educational experience visiting as it is a shopping experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another question.
Ooh, I don't know. You can hit me with the hard one. I'm sweating.
Welcome to the Ely community, first and foremost. I've worked with Andrew in the past. We work over at Piragis, and we've had the opportunity to look at his boats and demo. My big question to you is, what are your plans for local opportunities for manufacturing and providing maybe members of our community with disabilities with opportunity employment?
Well, you're about the 5th or 6th person on the list that's told me that we should make the boats here. Yeah, it's absolutely. We're starting with a couple, and got Tyler and his team. And, well. Square footage on. We gotta get the store open and show that it's viable before I could convince my boss to do that.
Any other questions before we release everybody to go see the boats in the parking lot?
Or the warm store.
Yeah, either one. My vote is for the warm store, but people here know that I don't do well with the outdoors anyway, so. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Lacey and I, do you have a question? Yep. Hang on. I'm not a good runner, but I'm trying.
You gotten together with Eric Stimler or anything like that regarding the canoe museum? That'd just be kind of a going thing.
But we certainly are in touch with various people around the community to try to organize something. But we'd love to see happen here. We certainly are involved in the community and opportunity to showcase Ely history.
We definitely need more events, for sure. Lacey and I like to joke that Ely is a town of nerds, like lovingly. We say that very lovingly. And that Tuesday group is a great place to showcase all of the many varied interests in this town. And this was a great representation of how much knowledge is in this room between the presenters and also the people asking very detailed questions. So thank you all for showing up week after week and sharing your expertise and participating in the expertise of our friends and neighbors. Next week, we will hear from Hudson Kingston from Cure. And then after that, we'll hear from Brenna at BK Coordination. So make sure if you're not on the emails, let me know and enjoy your field trip to the store to see the boats.
Thank you.